Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Amped Adventures, Exploring Energy Solutions, the podcast that electrifies your world with cutting-edge energy solutions and revolutionary technologies. I'm your host, Doug Curtis, and I'm thrilled to be joined by my dynamic and very knowledgeable co-host, Mike Sokol.
Why, thank you, Doug.
Mike and I are experts in the field of smart energy solutions, and with years of experience and a passion for exploring the latest advancements in energy technology, together we'll be your guides as we go forward on this electrifying podcast and webcast journey.
But more on us later. Let's talk about this podcast. Who is it for, and why did we decide to create this, Doug?
Well, we really decided this based on a lot of talking with a lot of people because, Mike, you have a very large podcast audience, a webcast audience. You're at a lot of events. And, of course, I've been working in the RV and now recently the residential market for many, many years. And as a result, we come in across a lot of people who have a lot of questions about very complex situations. And it's all about amperage. It's all about electrical power. It's all about the concerns that people have. So if you're looking to really reduce or optimize your energy use, whether you're in an RV, a boat, or you're in your home, and you realize that things sometimes go wrong with electrical power. So we're going to try to address a lot of these different things.
Well, Doug, each episode of Amped Adventures dives deep into the world of smart energy solutions. We're uncovering innovative technologies, expert insights, and practical tips to help you harness your own power at home, on the road, and everywhere in between, including your life.
Well, all right, so we're going to try to explore those electrifying topics like solar power, smart grid technology, efficient energy. We believe that we can empower you, our audience, with really smart energy solutions because, really, it's all about making smart buyers smarter. So our podcast, webcast motto is really simple. Power up your adventures and charge your life with knowledge.
Right. Now, I'm a tech guy, Doug, all my life, and I jumped on board with this because I believe that we can empower our audiences with smart energy solutions. We can come up with ideas. We can help.
So let me just try to give a little preview into the future here. We're going to try to drop these episodes at least once a month, and then we're going to, as we increase our capability and our knowledge, we're going to perhaps even get to a weekly show. And SoftStart USA is going to host this channel. They're going to be our podcast sponsor. And we're going to start with an introduction to smart energy solutions for RV homes, emergencies, specifically focusing on your home.
That's right. We've got a great episode planned. You're going to get a rundown of what's happening right now in the tech space, get to know us a bit, and get tips and takeaways for how you can start incorporating smart energy technology into your home. We're answering audience questions. We're telling stories. It will be a lot of fun.
Mike, I always get excited when we're having conversations, and we've been doing it for years, but let's dive in. Mike, I want the audience to get to know who you are. Of course, they probably know who you are because you've been doing so many podcasts and webcasts for so many, many years. I mean, you're Mr. RV Electricity. For myself, I've been in the industry, I don't say I've been in the industry 50 years, but I did have my first camper 50 years ago. An old panel Econoline 150 van. It didn't have any of the comforts that we talk about today. I mean, we used an ice block for the portable fridge freezer. And that was the only way you could keep eggs and milk and cheese cold. But those are the old days. Today, it's everything is comfort and how to be able to really enjoy your lifestyle. This program, I know we're going to focus on RV, marine, and homes. But my history has been launching products into this area, trying to make people more comfortable, whether they're at home, on their boat, or in their house.
I like building things. I like electric power. I've got a background in mechanical, electrical engineering. Was self-taught in electricity starting when I was 4 years old, when I stole the light bulb out of my Lionel train and a paperclip and a 1.5-volt dry cell, and I learned how electricity works sitting in a closet in the dark. When I was 8, I tried to build a perpetual motion machine that would generate extra power in my basement and tied it into our fuse panel. And it did not work, or we wouldn't have this discussion. We were all running a Sokol unlimited energy generator. It didn't work, but there you go. Now, I also should note that I'm a keyboard player. My mom said I could play piano before I could talk. I was one of those kids. I would wander up to the piano. Whatever I heard on TV, I would just play. So this music got incorporated in this. By the time I was 13, 14 years old, I had my own rock band, and I was building my own amplifiers and processors and everything from parts that I liberated from the junkyard. When I went to school for mechanical and electrical engineering, my first job was designing and building packaging machines and doing control robotics for this stuff. And I had long hair at that point. So by the day, I'd pull my hair back, and I would be doing that, or my next job was calibrating nuclear guidance systems. And at night, I'd let my hair down, and I would be jumping through fireballs on stage with a mini Moog synthesizer strung around my neck. And that's just the start of it. Now, I'll just skip to the end here. For the last 12 years or so, I've been writing for the RV industry on all kinds of electrical safety issues and power issues, but I've been doing this forever. I mean, I love teaching about it, and I still have that wonder of a 4-year-old kid sitting in a dark closet with a battery and a light bulb, and it just clicked, and I said, I want to know everything about this.
You know, Mike, I'm really excited about this. As we move forward, I want to dive into also, I think you just sort of touched on it a minute, but I want to make it a good point. You know, if we have several 100 million people in the United States alone, and we only have about 10 or 11 million RVers, it's a very small percentage, but those people have been very, we've been working with them for years, and they have like a power management base level that most other people don't have. And I think it's important to understand that, you know, by talking with things that are familiar to RVers, we can help educate the homeowners on how, you know, they have to really begin to understand how they can really have smart energy solutions for their home, and we can maybe piggyback on some of the things from RVers. So some of the things will be a little bit a review, if you might say, for some of the RVers, but I think we're going to have a lot of really in-depth information that's going to help the RVer as well as the homeowner.
Oh, I agree 100%. You know, and the key, of course, is that RVers have been worrying about power usage for years. And load shedding and power management. You know, in your house, you can turn on whatever you want all at the same time. You can turn on the toaster, you can turn on you can run a hair dryer, you can run the air conditioner, you can run all of this stuff. Your house should be built with at least, like modern ones now, at least a 200 amp service. But RVers, as soon as you get out, you've got to think, especially if you're on a 30 amp service, how much can I really run? And you have to kind of parse out what things you can do at the same time. Regular homeowners don't have that knowledge base. Every RVer has a good amount of that. If you're boondocking, you really, really are aware of how much energy you're using.
So, there are a lot of things happening in the world today, and if I just could draw your attention just to what was happening in the past week in natural disasters and forecasts that are coming out of Texas. Mike, maybe, I know that you follow this much more accurately than I am, but you know, maybe you have a couple stories where we can talk about what's happening to the homeowner and how, if we can help him understand how to be able to cope with blackouts, brownouts, emergencies, not to mention all the floods, fires, tornadoes, hurricanes, mudslides, and everything else that could come out.
I've got colleagues that are in the energy business, right? And we have these discussions all the time about what the grid is going through. And a lot of this is not even what you would call personal faults. That is, these are natural disasters. So there's been this steep increase in natural disasters over the recent years. It's resulted in loss of the power grid, sometimes losing electricity for days or weeks. And sometimes also they shut down the natural gas supplies. I watch the news. We're seeing in Texas and Oklahoma and Washington State and California, Ohio. I mean, every day I see some new disaster. People are sitting there and they got no power. People need electricity for heating, cooling, refrigeration, running your cell phones, running your medical devices. We are an electric society. We really are. And without that, we're in trouble.
What are some solutions that people could begin to consider to overcome some of these obstacles?
Well, right now, if you look at advertisements on TV, everybody talks about whole house generators. You can't watch a show without seeing something for a generator thing. Now, they can be great for backup power. However, you need generally 10,000 to 12,000 watts of a generator, and it's mounted on a pad. This can easily cost you $10,000 or more. But we're working on some solutions that can start as low as $2,000 to $5,000. The one thing that I worry about, I was really considering putting in a pad-mounted natural gas generator at my house, and then I found out that a lot of times when there's a disaster, they shut off the natural gas supply to all the houses just to prevent fires. And I'm going, well, that doesn't do me any good. So I'm working on some ideas of like dual fuel generators, portable generators. So another thing everybody talks about is solar power for homes. And they're talking about it's $30,000 to $50,000. You could put all kinds of solar panels on the roof of your house. That's all great. Some of them are designed to reduce your electric bill, and unfortunately, they don't put enough stuff in it. They will not power your house by itself when the grid goes down. And that's silly. I mean, that's absolutely silly. You've already spent all this money, and you're going, wow, I'm only paying $10 a month for my electricity rather than $100 a month. All good. When the power goes down, they didn't put the internal connection switch to run your house off of your own solar generator. Isn't that crazy? Blah.
We need to explain these things.
We'll go through this. Oh, gosh, I know how all this works. And also relying on solar power alone can be a problem during cloudy days. I've had nothing but cloudy days here for last week. You know, we just had the Canadian fires just completely overcast everything here for a week or more.
Yeah.
And if I would have had solar panels out, I'm sure they were reduced in efficiency by at least 50%. At least.
Oh, yeah.
So let's look at the kind of stuff you need power for. You need it for lighting, for Wi-Fi, cell phones, heating, and refrigeration. One of the things that I noticed, a Texas tornado that went through last month, they said the very first thing it did was blow down the tornado warning sirens on the towers. And they said, don't worry, everybody. We're going to send you text messages on disaster stuff, and on all the next ones coming through. And people are saying, my cell phones are dead. How do I charge my cell phones with no power? And now you've got no warning stuff? Blah. People need this for CPAP machines, oxygen concentrators, other medical devices. In some hot areas of the country, it is I think in some parts of Texas, they said it's the hottest it's ever been in recorded history.
Wow.
In Maryland, where I am, today is the coldest it's ever been on this date in recorded history. This is nuts. Your well pumps, you need 240 volts. If you've got a well pump and you don't have power, you got no water. So, wow. And now, here's the other thing. It's crazy. And I talked to some of my colleagues out in California and Texas. Some blackouts are planned. So Texas last year had multiple instances of power outages due to freezing temps. California has planned blackouts of up to a week because to help mitigate forest fires from sparking power lines. Some of the states, they did this in Maryland. They're asking customers to reduce their electricity usage or they're going to shut it off. They sent us a notice here last month when it got really, really hot, and they said, guys, you got to back off from the air conditioning or we're going to just go ahead and do blackouts.
Wow.
In Maryland.
Yeah.
So what do you need to make backup power work safely? Well, we're going to break this down to a bunch of stuff, but it's really like 4 basic ideas here. First off, you need some sort of a generator, some way to make power. We're going to discuss a number of ways to do this that's affordable and quiet and efficient. You're going to need some sort of a transfer switch. You need some way to get that power into your house. You're going to want to have a way to start your home air conditioner, if you've got one, and or heat pump. Heat pumps are much more efficient than electric heating. This is where SoftStartHome comes in, because this allows you to use a smaller generator to run a bigger heat pump or air conditioner. And then, of course, in your house, you're going to want to have more efficient energy devices. So, for instance, I've got some friends that refuse to go to LED light bulbs because they don't like them. Or they think that they don't save you any power. I can do demonstrations. I've got one of those little spinny things like we used to have on our house that shows you just how much less energy a LED light bulb uses compared to old school tungsten light bulbs. So I've got a whole bunch of things that we can do and show that will help. But well, those are other episodes. You name it, we can do it.
SoftStart Home protects and extends the life of your AC unit or heat pump, enables your AC, appliances, and medical devices to start on a generator, allows your AC, appliances, and medical devices to start on solar power and batteries. To find out more or purchase your SoftStart Home, head to SoftStartHome.com.
And we're back. Mike, I want you to share. I know you've got 2 great homeowner stories. Which would be the one that you want to kick off with? The one with your sons and their home, or maybe the story about Carl?
Let's talk about Carl. He's the bigger problem.
Bigger problem.
Okay. So my buddy Carl built a beautiful house out in the middle of the woods out in West Virginia. And the problem is it's out in the middle of the woods in West Virginia. And the power lines, he's way, way out on the end of this. So when the power goes down anywhere, it goes down for him. And not just for an hour, but sometimes for days or a week or more. And he kept complaining. He says, his well pump doesn't work. He's got no water. His heat pump has propane backup, but it doesn't work. There's no power. And his refrigerator and refreezer, he would be a day into this and be dragging this stuff out to a friend's house with a refrigerator that was working. And of course, it was just a problem. So I said, Carl, I've got a solution. I've got a spare 5,000 watt, 240 volt generator laying around, and I've got the appropriate transfer switches and connections. And if you want, I'll bring it over and we'll hook it up. We'll see how this works. So he ran all the wiring in. We hooked it all up and set up the generator. And I showed him, you start this thing up. Now this is a noisy contractor generator, only costs $500 or $600. He started it up. It was able to run all this stuff in his house. He could run his refrigerator, he could run his well, he could run his heat pump, he could run all of these things. And no sooner than about a week after we had it in, his power went down for like 3 or 4 days. And he calls me up and he says, I'm calling you from my phone while I'm watching TV sitting in here and there's no power. This is amazing because the generator's running out there. And he was like, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm going, hey, this is all about preparing this in advance. So since he put that in about 2 years ago, he's probably had a half a dozen instances where his power went down for 3 or 4 days. Yeah. And he doesn't lose food in his refrigerator. He could still sit in there or do whatever. What he's done in the evening is he actually has one of these little solar generator backup power supplies I gave him. He doesn't even need to run the big generator at night. He sent me a picture. He had this running with it. He had his wood fireplace running, and he had his Christmas tree on, and he had his computer on, all running off of this little battery pack. And he goes, I'm doing great with this. He says, this is amazing. He says, I've got lights, I've got heat, I've got refrigeration. And he says, I don't have to worry about when the power's going to come back on. He said, they could go out for weeks. I don't care.
Mike, I gotta ask this question because you just made me think about it. So he has a generator solution that you helped him put together, but he also uses solar power to go through the night. Can he sleep through the night with his air conditioner?
No. These are just little units. These are small units. But he's not worried about that. He's got ceiling fans and whatnot and open up a window. But what I'm saying is at night, because it's cool out there, he opens up a couple windows. But he's got a couple of lights plugged into this. This is one of these Jackery solar battery packs.
Okay.
He even had it so he was playing his guitar through his amp while all the power was off. So again, this is all about figuring out what works for you. Now, some people, if you want to keep your air conditioning running, it's going to be an expensive solution.
We're going to dive into that.
Yeah, this is a simple little thing.
Okay. Well, what about your sons, though? They were running their air conditioner off of generator power, right?
They were running air conditioner off of generator power, and so here's what they wanted to do. So I have a spare Honda EU 7000. I got a lot of generators, and they were having some power outages in the neighborhood because, well, they're doing a lot of running new lines, new fiber optics, new everything. And they said, well, Dad, what would it take to actually run off of the generator? Can we use your generator? I said, sure, I'll bring it over, put in a transfer switch, and set it up. Now, even though it was a 7,000 watt generator, it would not run their air conditioner heat pump. It just wouldn't start it properly. So we went ahead and I said, let me see. There's a new product that I'm evaluating here for Network RV. And it's the SoftStart Home. We put that on there. I think it's 2.5 ton air conditioner. And lo and behold, that 7,000 watt generator could start it up, and it ran perfectly fine. And then the crazy thing is, the neighbors came over the next day, and because we were only running on the generator for a few hours to test it, but we left the SoftStart Home unit on there, and they came over and they said, "What did you do to your air conditioner?" And the boys are going, what? And they said, we can't hear it starting up anymore. We can't hear it running. And that's one of the advantages of SoftStart technology. Rather than the air conditioners doing a big bang in the neighborhood, they kind of do a little whoosh. We think it's going to increase the longevity of the cycling of the air conditioner. But for right now, your neighbors won't complain, because even though their air conditioner is on the side of the house, it's next to their neighbor's bedroom over there. And they're like, we can hear that thing running all night. So we're probably going to put a more efficient air conditioner in this year, and then also set this up so they can permanently run a backup generator. But now they've figured out they don't need a 12 or 20,000 watt generator. They can do this with a 7,000 watt Honda. They say they're keeping my Honda generator. I've got to get my own. But
Mike, that's probably a parental.
It's how it works. Well, Dad, they said, well, it's sitting here right now, and I'm going, and we found a nice place for it in the garage.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. So now you've made it a nest. That's
Mike,
right.
Those are two great stories. I know that there are a lot of other tech talk questions that we have coming up. Let me let's try to shift our focus to more technical, because as you began to explain, that story with your friend Carl and the story with your son, is people have questions all the time that they're sending in to you and to us on how to be able to solve a specific problem or things that they're confused about. Let's go to that section now.
Okay. So I also run a number of blogs. I have my daily blog, which is my rvelectricity.substack.com. And I've republished 220 articles, I think, once a day since like November. I write a lot of stuff. And so people are always asking me crazy questions. So here's one here, which I don't recommend. You can see this is a circuit breaker panel at a campground, and they've actually run a water pipe through the middle of it. So there's water running through the same pipe, and they want to know if that's a good idea. Well, I'm pretty sure we know that that's not a good idea, right? So there's fun stuff like that. Here's one. They said, has this ever happened to your 50 amp inlet? See that guy right there? What does that look like? That baby be burned up, right? There's a couple of causes for that we can help solve. So, for instance, a lot of people don't realize you should be doing preventative maintenance and using contact cleaner on these connectors.
Oh.
And so they live a hard life out in the weather and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So a little spritz of deoxit cleaner in there, a couple times a season, and you'll never have this burn up. This is whether you're using an outside generator in your house or whether you're using an RV. They have the same problem.
Okay, good news.
I've got one other one. Oh. Somebody wanted to know if you could run 120 volt appliances off of a 240 volt generator. And yes, if you have the proper adapters, which I know how those are right there. And so I give them links to all of that. I mean, it goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
I have hundreds of examples that we can pick and choose. One of the things we're going to ask you too after this podcast is if in the comments section, if you've got specific questions, you need to put them in there because we want to know. We want to know. We'll research it for the next one.
Well, you bring up a good point, Mike. Is there anything else? Because I think the point is that we are really gathering information from a lot of experts to answer problems from the community. So if you are an RV or you're a homeowner,
even if you're a homesteader, you've got these guys that are doing tiny houses and they're homesteaders off of the grid.
Right.
We're there for you.
Yeah, we know that by gathering together the experts and gathering together the questions, we'll be able to design future shows with the experts that you need. Who's going to be, in fact, I don't know how much time we have left in this situation, Mike, but can you estimate, can we sort of talk for a minute about who might be our future guest? I remember we talked about Chris Flegel, is that right?
Chris Flegel would be great. He's the general manager, he says chief cook and bottle washer for Reliance Controls, and they make every kind of transfer switch you could possibly imagine. Transfer switches are in every system. If you've got a generator, you've got a solar system, whatever, you've got to have a way to get that power into your house safely. They've got all kinds of solutions. He's a great guy. We've even figured out how you can attach an F-150 Power Boost hybrid pickup truck to your house to power it.
Oh, Mike, I know that story. I can't wait to tell that story. So coming up, folks, we're going to be asking for your help to help us get the right guests and answer your questions about homes, RVs, even your boat, and all the things that have to do with energy and power. It's going to be a great new season. So now we're going to go to a pre-recorded section where Mike and I were working on a project doing about 4 or 5 installations of on home air conditioners, and we thought it was a good time where we might answer some common FAQ questions. So let's go to that section now.
Yeah, because basically a solar system now, they're about 7 kilowatts. So if you get one of these so-called power walls,
right.
All they are is solar panels on the top, and that's instead of the gasoline for your generator. And then they've got a battery bank
right.
to charge up. And then they'll have like a 7 kilowatt, 240 volt inverter. So basically it's a Honda 7,000 watt,
right.
generator without the engine.
Sure.
On it. So anything that helps that will do this. So and again, this is all about being able to be not just comfortable but livable if there is a power outage. So good friends of mine, they had actually built a special apartment for the mother
right.
who was staying with them,
mm-hmm.
and she's like, I don't know, 90 years old, 87, something like
wow,
that. But she's
bedridden.
bedridden.
Yeah.
She's doing okay, but she doesn't do well in the heat. So what happens if their power goes out? They really need a backup source. Sure. You don't have to refrigerate the entire house, but you would like your refrigerators running, right?
Yeah.
You would really like to have an air conditioner running for the room. So they've got a couple of different air conditioners around the place. Mm-hmm. And I said, a SoftStart on there and and a reasonably priced generator.
Right.
And I really like inverter generators for this, by the way, but there's a whole set we can do on that. But that will allow them to keep her comfortable in there, and themselves too. And I've got guys out in California, when it gets hot out there, it gets seriously hot. So, and I'm talking to a couple of my colleagues out there that are real engineers about, what do we do in order of making your house powerable with a 5,000, 7,000 watt class generator, because they are part of the rolling blackouts.
Oh yeah.
They know they're going to happen. They happen. They're down for days. And the other thing that I think is important, and a lot of people, I'm doing the Boy Scout thing. I never made it to Eagle Scout. I was too lazy. Don't tell anybody. But the key here is when something goes wrong, I don't want to be part of the problem.
Right.
I want to have enough food. I want to have freezers. We do, and I want to have backup power so that we don't have to worry and tell these guys we desperately need this. Right. And it's not just for that. What if you really need a CPAP machine?
Right. What
if you really need an oxygen generator? For elderly. What do you need? Medical devices need power. And so I think that this kind of thing is an important thing. So this is a little broader umbrella than just simply the SoftStart. SoftStart's an important part of it, but we can actually use that as part of these tests for, what does it take to run a house of a certain size, and what can you expect to run off of a generator X or generator Y. And while I'm at it, I'll measure noise levels of fuel consumption and all this other stuff, just because I can, and I like doing that. I like doing that stuff. I know you guys, some of these things you think it's just crazy, but these are all real science numbers then that I send back to the engineering companies, and they use to help calculate what their things are going to do and how it's going to work, feature sets that they need. So I consult to a lot of manufacturers, not just in the RV industry, but all over the place.
Mike, this has been great, and it's only going to get better. I'm really excited about the future. Can you just tell me how we're going to be able to have people reach out to us? Maybe share with the audience how you prefer.
Well, we've got everything in the comments section below. But remember, like this video, share this with everybody, ring the little bell. I do a daily blog podcast that's rvelectricity.substack.com, which you can see below. And I have my RV Electricity YouTube channel, which has got dozens and dozens of videos. Plus, we'll have our own ways to share this stuff. Yeah. But we need your questions. We really do. And if you have comments, or you can share this with any of your other homeowner groups, RV groups, or whatever, we'd appreciate it, because we need to grow this.
Yeah, well, that's the intent here is we want to make smart buyers smarter, and our goal is to find out your questions, gather the experts together, and create this community where we can power up your adventure and charge your life with knowledge. I hope we've energized your brain a bit. And until next time,
I'm Mike Sokol.
And I'm Doug Curtis.
Thank you very much. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.